Hi again. Here we go. We'll jump right into it. So, today we are factoring out a greatest common factor. So, now when we want to factor something out, we are pulling it out, dividing it out, kind of like undistributing. So, let's take a look at this first guy here as we see what it means to factor out a GCF, a greatest common factor. So I'm going to first look for a common factor, something that is common to both 15 and 25. A number that goes into both of them, well, I'm going to go with 5. So I'm going to go with 5, and I'm going to look at a number or find something that is common to x squared and x. Well, the most x's that both of these terms have is just the one x. I wouldn't be able to divide 2x's or x squared out of here because it doesn't have to. It's only got 1. So 1 is the most that I can take out. So this is what I am going to factor out. Now I'm going to open parentheses. When I factor something out, I'm dividing it out, and I kind of think of it as undistributing. So that's why this 5x came out in front. So we're going to pull out the number 5. And when I do pull out or divide out the number 5, that leaves me with a 3. There's a plus sign, and it leaves me with a 5. And when I divide out or pull out an x, I'm left with 1x here. And well, that guy got factored out, and there it is. So I don't put anything in here. So it didn't totally disappear. It's here in the front, and now it's factored out. So this expression became this times this. And we could double check our answer by distributing. And I always do that in my head. If you don't write it out, I'm all good with that. But distribute this back in. 5 times 3 is 15. X times x, x squared, plus 25x. Yep, check. So that's what I do. Always distribute back in to double check. So whenever we are factoring out, we are undistributing. That's kind of what I think of it as. And multiply back in, distribute back in to double check your answer. Let's take a look at number 2. Okay, so now I'm checking out number 2. So I'm going to look at the different parts. I'm going to look at my numbers. So I have 20 and 14. Well, the only number that goes into both of those is 2. And they both do not have an x. So x is not common. So I cannot factor that out. So all I got is a 2. So parentheses. If we pulled a 2 out in front, this would become 10. Keep the x plus, pull out a 2 or divide. That's what we're doing. Divide out a 2, 7. And if we distribute back in, we see that we do get back to our original. And as I glance here, there's nothing common between these two terms that we could pull out. So we did, in fact, pull out the greatest common factor. Moving over here to number 3. I'm going to look at my 50 and my 15. Okay, so both of those have 5 as a factor. And I have a to the 4th and a squared. So the most a's that both of them have is 2. We can divide 2 a's out of here at most, and 2 out of here. Can't take out 4 because there aren't 4 here for me to pull out. 2 is my max, and there it is. So I'm going to open parentheses. And if I were to pull out or divide out 5 from each of these numbers, I would have a 10. You know what you could do? You can do each term separately also and leave a space for the variables. Divide out of 5, that's 3. When we divide or pull out a squared, it leaves you with a squared. And that guy, yep, the whole thing comes right out in front. So you are done. At a quick glance, multiply this back in and make sure you get back to your original. Sliding up. Let's check out number 4. So for number 4, oh, no numbers, and that's fine, but I'm looking at my A's. I want to take out the most A's that I can, whatever is common to both. Okay, I see this as an A to the 7th, and that's the most A's that there are in this problem. But you can't take 7 A's out of here. There aren't 7 to give. They got 3. So we're going to do A to the 3rd. At this point, if you want to do one letter at a time, parentheses, and then you can say, well, I took out the whole thing, so you can put 1 as the placeholder, leave a space because of the B's, plus, and then if we pulled out A to the 3rd, that means I got 4 left over. Then you can go back and look at your B's. Well, this guy only has 1. That's the most here, and that's the most that we are able to take out, just a plain old B. If I divide 1B out of here, that leaves me with B to the 4th. I could have turned that into a B if I wanted to. Sometimes 1's as coefficients irk me, so I'm going to take that away. And then when I divide away that B, it's gone. Remember, distribute back in, and yep, we get back to our original. And we come to this guy over here, number 5. So for number 5, I'm going to look for a number that's common to 36 and 12. Well, let's see. It's a lot of common numbers. See, 2. And yeah, 2 is in both, but it's not the greatest. I could go with 4. I could go with 6. And the biggest number that goes into both is the 12. So I'm actually going to divide out or factor out a 12. I can also take out the most y's I can take out, y squared, 2 of them. Parentheses, well, if I divide 12 out of here, that leaves me with 3. 12 times 3 will bring me back to my 36. And if I had 5 and I took 2 out, leaves me with 3. Plus, okay, so now I got this guy. I took out the whole entire term. Took out the whole entire term, but I can't leave a blank here because remember, if we distribute back in, we have to get back to our original. So I have to make sure there is something here so that when I distribute, my 12y squared will give me 12y squared. So you have to have that 1 as a placeholder. We kind of started off over here with a 1 for just in case, and we didn't need it. Here you do. Number 6. So for number 6, let's see. We are going to go with common number. Let's look at all our numbers. I have 2 and 20 and 8. The biggest number that goes into all of them is 2. I'm going to look at my A's, each piece separately. Don't get overwhelmed. A to the 3rd, A, and A squared. I go with the smallest one because I can't get A to the 3rd out of here if it doesn't have 3 A's to give, right? All we got is 1. So you always go with the smallest power so I can pull out an A. B, B to the 7th, and B to the 5th. Well, they all have at least B to the 1st, so that's the guy I'm going to go with. I can't go any higher than this, so that's all that one has. Open parentheses. This guy I took out a 2. I took out one of the A's, leaving me with just the A squared, and I took out the B minus. I factored out a 2, leaves me with 10. Well, the A came out, and B to the 7th becomes B to the 6th, plus divide out a 2. You can even write it that way if you want to. You could see it because we don't want to accidentally put 6, right? You want to divide it out. so that's going to be 4, was a to the 3rd, but we took one of the a's out, leaving us with 2 of them. And it was b to the 5th. Again, we took 1 out, b to the 4th, close parentheses. If we distribute, we'll get back to our original. Right now, pause the screen so that you can try 7, 8, 9, and 10 on your own.